Questions 11 through 20 of the 2000 Grade 7 Gauss Math Contest. A rectangular building block has a square base ABCD. As shown, its height is 8 units. If the block has a volume of 288 cubic units, what is the side length of the base? So the volume of this shape is length times width times height. And they've told you that the volume is 288. And the height is 8 as per the diagram. So we can put that in there. Now the length and the width are of the base right here. So if this is length, this is width, like that. But it's a square. So because it's a square, these are the same. So we can call them whatever you want. Let's just call them x, because square has, of course, 4 equal sides. So this now becomes x times 8. So this becomes x squared, 288 over 8, like that. And therefore x squared is equal to 36. And finally x is 6. So the side length of the base is 6. So the answer to number 11 is A. A recipe requires 25 ml of butter to be used along with 125 ml of sugar. If 1000 ml of sugar is used, how much butter would be required? So the amount of butter to sugar ratio is 25 to 125, and that's what the question tells you. So we can just use that ratio to figure out the amount of butter. So the amount of butter for 1000 ml of sugar is going to have the same ratio, 25 over 125. So now we can just solve for this. 125b is equal to 25 times 1000, and therefore 25 times 1000 divided by 125 is equal to b. And if you do the math, you will get b equal to 200. So the amount of butter that's required for 1000 ml of sugar in this recipe is 200 ml. So the answer is C. Carl had his salary reduced by 10%. He was later promoted and his salary was increased by 10%. If his original salary was $20,000, what is his present salary? Well, it's tempting to say 20,000 because you think, well, it reduced by 10% and went back up by 10%. So it'd be right back where he started, but that's not how it works. If he starts at 20,000 and you reduce his salary by 10%, his salary would therefore become 0.9 times 20,000. That's how much he's going to get if his salary is reduced by 10%. And this is equal to 1,800. Then later, his 18,000, salary is increased by 10%. So 18,000 is therefore increased by 10%. So his new salary becomes 1.1 times 18,000, which is 19,800. So this is his present salary. So the answer for 13 is B. The area of a rectangle is 12 square meters. The side lengths in meters are whole numbers. The greatest possible perimeter is. So you've got a rectangle like this. We don't know the sizes yet. That's what they asked us to figure out. But we know that one side we can call L and the other side we can call W. And they told us that the area, which is of course length times width, is 12. Like that. And they want us to figure out P, the perimeter, but the greatest possible P. So whenever you have questions that cause us to find something that's greatest or least, extreme case scenarios, I go for an extreme case scenario with regard to what information they've given me. And all they've given me is this so far. but they have told me that the lengths are in whole numbers, they're integers. So how can I make L times W equal to 12 in an extreme case scenario with L and W as both whole numbers, as both integers? Well, the largest L could be is 12. And if that's the case, W has to be 1. So this would work for the area, but what would the perimeter be? Perimeter, of course, is 2L plus 2W. So this would be 2 times 12 plus 2 times W, which is going to be 26. Now, if you use any other combination of L and W, the perimeter is always going to be less than 26. So the answer to number 14 is E. In the diagram, all rows, columns, and diagonals have a sum of 12. What is the sum of the four corners? All right. So they've given us one column that has 2, so we can start with that. 3 plus 4 plus something is equal to 12, right? Because all the rows, columns, and diagonals have a sum of 12. So that must be a 5. That's the only way we can make it equal to 12. And then let's look at this one here. 4 plus 5 plus something is equal to 12. Well, then that must be a 3. And then this diagonal, 4 plus 4 plus something is 12. That's a 4. And finally, 3 plus 4 plus something is 12, and therefore that's a 5. So our four corners are 3, 4, 4, and 5. And therefore their sum, 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus 5, is 16. So the answer is C. Paul, Quincy, Rochelle, Surinder, and Tony are sitting around a table. So we've got this, let's say it's a circular table like that. And Quincy sits in the chair between Paul and Surinder like that. Okay? Surinder, Tony is not beside him. So Tony cannot be here. So Tony's got to be somewhere else. So let's put Tony over here, and we're missing one of these friends, and I believe that is Rochelle. Rochelle hasn't been mentioned yet. So we'll just put it there, because Tony cannot be beside Surinder according to this statement. So now they're asking, who is sitting on either side of Tony? All right, well, it looks like P and R, Paul and Rochelle. And that's it. That's all they're asking for. So 16 is A. ABCD is a square made up of 2 identical rectangles and 2 squares of area 4 and 16. So we've got a square, and I believe they've got this type of scenario where we got one square and you've got another square like that. And this will satisfy the conditions of the question. ABCD is indeed a square, and it's made up of 2 identical rectangles. So these rectangles are identical, but the squares are not. One square has area 4, so therefore the sides will be 2 and 2, like that. And the other area is 16, and therefore those sides are going to be 4, 4, 4, and 4. And what they're asking for is, what is the area of ABCD, the entire big square? Well, we can start labeling this. This from there to there is 4. This distance is 2. So this whole side is 6, and therefore that side is also 6. It's a square. So the area is 6 times 6, which is, of course, 36. So the answer to number 17 is D. The month of April 2000 had 5 Sundays. 3 of them fall on even numbered days. The 8th day of the month is. All right, we'll try out a scenario and see what we get. If it's wrong, we can always try a different scenario. We have 5 Sundays. So let's say the first Sunday is on the 1st. Then the second Sunday must be on the 8th, 15th, 22, and 29, like that. Does this meet our condition? 3 of the Sundays fall on even numbered days. We got it 1 even, 2 even. Ooh, that's not good because now we only have 2 even numbered days that the Sundays fall on. So this scenario is incorrect. No problem. We can just make another scenario. Instead of putting the first Sunday on the first of the month, I'll put the first Sunday on the second of the month. So like this. Now our Sundays will be every 7th day. So 9, 16, 23, and 30. So let's see. 1 even numbered day, 2 even numbered days, and 3 even numbered days. So this does indeed meet the criteria in the question. And now they want you to figure out the 8th day of this month. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8th day of the month is a Saturday. So the answer for number 18 is A. The diagram shows 2 isosceles right triangles with sides as marked. What is the area of the shaded region? Okay, so the area of the shaded region is going to be the area of the entire triangle. So the area of entire triangle. Subtract from it the area of the small triangle, this one right here. So area of small triangle. So what is the area of the entire triangle? What's 1/2 base times height? And the area of the small triangle will be 1/2 small base times small height. The big base is right here, 5. The height is from here to here, and because it's isosceles, it's also 5. And similarly in the small triangle, the base is right here, 3, and the height is also going to be 3 since it is an isosceles triangle. So this becomes 25 over 2 minus 9 over 2, and that is 16 over 2, which is equal to 8. So the area of the shaded region is 8. So 19, the answer is B. A dishonest butcher priced his meat so that meat advertised at $3.79 per kg was actually sold for $4 per kg. He sold 1,800 kilograms of meat before being caught and fined $500. How much was he ahead or behind where he would have been had he not cheated? All right, so we've got 2 scenarios. The first scenario is had he not cheated, and then the second scenario is where he cheated. So we have to compare these two. So the first scenario is if he sold 1,800 kilograms of meat at $3.79 per kg. And if he did that, he would have made a total of $6,822. Now he cheated, so he sold it a little bit higher than he should have. In that scenario, he sold the same amount of meat, but at $4 per kg. And when he did that, he made $7,200. But then he was fined $500, so we have to subtract 500, and that leaves a total of $6,700. So they're saying, how much did he gain or how much did he lose by getting into this situation? How much was he ahead or behind where he would have been had he not cheated? All right. So had he not cheated, it would have been 6,822. He cheated, and unfortunately, he only made 6,700 after the fine. So he lost $122 by doing that, by cheating and getting fined. So the answer to number 20 is B.